Hello, this is Boogeyman101, and
Gato 70.
we have our own opinions on the E3 conferences from uh, the 2013 E3. So, Microsoft's conference, what did you think about that one?
First input, first off, three. Oh, well, you know what? They put it on for $500.
The
Which is
Xbox
just
One?
yeah, the Xbox One. They put that on for $500. It was already an unpopular idea to start off with, and when they had the price set up, everyone kind of applauded only because they were in the audience. I don't think that as opposed to when Sony was in its conference and it was showing its prices, they almost got a standing ovation.
they they almost had like they wouldn't stop, cheering because of all these, things that
Yeah, you
Sony
know what?
announced.
Ugh.
Mike.
Xbox fanboys, please just pack. You know what? I own an Xbox 360. I've never owned any PlayStation or Sony gaming devices whatsoever. And this is the one conference that has switched my opinion all the way around. I am through with Microsoft, and I am seeing that results all across the market, in forums, in over social
Twitter.
media, yeah, in the chat rooms, on Twitch, and all over the internet. It's just lighting up with sort of resentment against Microsoft suddenly because um what were the things that Sony's done that it really just blew it up?
Indie
Well, first
games.
off, yeah, the indie games, those were really good. Um they introduced a lot of free games, game libraries.
And you actually get stuff for your PlayStation Plus membership instead of just being able just to play online. Um, paying.
I was so impressed. Oh man, I had to go and actually look at the stock prices because I'm sure that Microsoft's stock price is going to be a little bit, I don't know, unsettled
I
by
I think
all
I
of
think
this.
tomorrow's Microsoft stock prices probably will go down. Today,
I really
um,
hope they didn't make a lot of those Xbox Ones. I hope they made like one. Um
yeah, it goes with their name.
just one so that way it's really valuable.
Microsoft's stock prices actually went down like 20 cents today, while Sony's went up like what 55 cents.
Yeah, and
Well,
this is minute by minute sort of stuff. We're gonna be seeing a lot of this as time goes on, and this is just one press conference.
just one, and they only
You know,
brought up like what, a few
Xbox
different
fanboys
reasons.
all over the place. I've seen it before. Yeah, exactly. You really have to be a stalwart to cling on to what's left of Microsoft's claim over this market. Sony has taken. I again. I have always had Xbox be my primary source of gaming and everything. But now Destiny, made by Bungie, remember, who made Halo franchise, which was on Xbox, which was mainly the reason I bought an Xbox 360 originally, is now on PlayStation
PlayStation
4.
4, yeah,
Uh-huh. And PlayStation 4 is a full $100 cheaper.
which is insane. In fact, the post conference or the wrap up to the conference, and they were still talking about 300, the $100 cheaper than Xboxes, which changes everything. You get all this great stuff, basically the same sort of thing that you would get on Xbox. Sure, Xbox has, its own exclusive games, but so does Sony. And I think that $100 difference alone just kills everything.
Oh yeah, I looked in when yeah what was the what Titanfall. Titanfall was the game that
Mhm.
really caught my attention. But in comparison to Destiny, um Titanfall's going to not nearly be enough to get me to buy an Xbox One. Potentially, if the prices of Xbox One goes down, and say if Halo 5 exclusively comes out on Xbox One, only under those circumstances will I be willing to buy one. And even in that case, it'll be something that I really won't use very much, as opposed to what they actually were planning on, which if you actually go through and look at a lot of the stuff that they've actually done, a lot of the games and a lot of the achievement systems and things have things that are based upon daily use. Um, whereas PlayStation and Sony have taken a much more realistic stance and approach toward it, where they've realized that PlayStation systems and Sony systems are the number one um, devices that Netflix is watched on,
Mhm.
and they realized, yeah, there's a lot of other free games, and that people actually share their games with their friends.
Right.
And they wanted to accept that, as opposed to Microsoft, which, meanwhile, they're just, I don't know, just
Their
blasting.
DRM and licensing.
Exactly. They come up with Windows 8. Now Microsoft's coming up with the Xbox One. Two failures in a row. Their popularity has already dropped significantly after that. But now this, I mean, just on 9gag the other day, I was, you know, Petridge Farm remembers the days when, you could play a single player game and not be online. And
Right.
now, yeah,
Xbox One comes
PlayStation,
along. Xbox One
Xbox
comes
One,
along and
PlayStation,
forces
there's just no
everybody.
contest anymore. It's rest in peace, Microsoft.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're an avid user of Xbox One, you need to go and you need to see this press conference, or at least see some of the tail ends or the really important highlights of these two systems put up against each other, because after just one press conference, just observing all of this E3 whole thing, E3 2013, um, I realized that Microsoft's going to be left in the dust, and I had no intentions originally going into this of getting a PlayStation 4, but coming out, there's just no choice. There's just no contest anymore.
Mhm.
It's so obvious. It's so common sense. Um, oh man,
Economic
this
standpoint.
is yeah. The giant blood has been spilt. Microsoft has had a massive just instrument blown to it. It's on its knees potentially.
I mean, the only
I
thing that caught my eye in Xbox or Microsoft's press conference was just the surprise, Halo thing. That's it. Sure, there was that other multiplayer-based game where they take like elements of that you would see in single player and put them into the multiplayer, like have that as a whole game. I don't remember what
yeah,
it's
yeah, that
called, but
was Titanfall. That was Titanfall.
yeah, yeah.
Titanfall and new Halo game. They looked like good titles, but even then, if Xbox One isn't a blockbuster, then I can almost guarantee that those two other games are not going to be blockbusters.
Hmm.
With all the titles that I've seen coming out for PlayStation 4, it seems like a very good investment to get the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One.
And I like indie games too. I really do enjoy indie games.
I do too.
The biggest one is probably Minecraft. Minecraft, I'm sure a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people do like it. It's a very good sandbox, and I believe, that indie gamers don't have to go through these, big publishers, that can have the whole creative control, and all the developer does is develop their idea, and you know, I like indie gamers who take risks. You know, it's to me, it's I like indie games.
Yeah,
It's
gamers and
something
game
new.
makers.
It's something
Mm-hmm.
new and original. These guys like Activision, like the Call of Duty series.
Yeah,
Since
yeah,
like
yeah. Okay, take a look at let's compare this with Microsoft here, because Microsoft has this one what was it? Spark? Was that what
hmm
Project
Spark,
Spark or
yeah.
whatever? Yeah, they had this one project where you could build your own worlds, but it looked pretty limited to me. I mean, like they had goblins and whatnot, but all those things looked like they were spawned and that you could create your own game, sure, but it looked like you were just creating the layout
hmm
of something that was pretty, simple. You couldn't exactly go down the level of programming and everything,
Right.
um as opposed to, yeah, the sandbox creative environment of indie games on the PlayStation, which I'm just now really becoming aware of, has a lot of really good, like, arcade and retro kind of feeling games, really
hmm
original ideas that I haven't seen before, which is surprising judging by how long games have been around.
hmm And since, for the past, what, 7, 8 years, we haven't seen many things other than indie developers, that really capture our minds. I mean, sure, Halo is coming out with new stuff, but we need something different and new, and the only people who do that are the indie developers, or the indie uh
Yes, and
people.
I think that Sony is doing a really good job of bringing originality back into the market, and that is probably what's going to really get them to succeed over Microsoft in the short term and the long run, I think.
Hmm.
All right. Well,
You know, Nintendo's press conference is tomorrow. Well, the time that I'm recording this, it's uh what are you expecting to see out of Nintendo's conference? I'm not expecting to see anything like too epic like we saw in Sony's press conference, but you know, uh, I hope to see Pikmin 3 finally like being
yeah, okay.
released.
Here's a few things that we're counting out here. Final Fantasy, um, and what was the other one? Um,
There was
oh
like
well, it
the
doesn't matter.
sports
There was
games, sports games.
yeah, they're really big titles. They'll also be playing into this, people
Mhm.
going along with the classical titles. Um,
I mean,
Microsoft did a good job of dazzling the crowd, but
mhm.
they also dazzled us by making us hold on to our wallets.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, every game you saw, you're always constantly thinking, "Oh, that looks good," but how much is it? Um, with
right.
PlayStation, it wasn't so much because they kept on stressing the fact that a lot of these games are gonna be free, um, and that a lot of this stuff, yeah, PlayStation, what is it? Um,
Plus
Plus,
is
yeah,
yeah.
that it seems cheap, only $5 a month. That's pretty cheap.
I mean, it's how much does
For an
gold cost you?
introduction to
How
PSN, actually, gold. I think
how
gold. Well, the thing is that you buy gold in what is like $50 a year. I think it is.
mhm, mhm.
Um, no,
It's
100. Is it $100 a year? I don't
no,
know.
it can't. It's not. It's usually like a price of a game. But think about it. PlayStation Plus costs less than Netflix. Netflix is what, $8 a month? I have Netflix, and PlayStation Plus is a lot cheaper than that. And I could do more things than I could do with Netflix. Of course, Netflix is only a video streaming, but still, you know, I can play online games. I can get free games. I get a whole bunch of cool things off of Plus. Coming into PlayStation 4,
Yeah,
which
I think
I'm.
it's a really, really gentle and really good adaptation that if they really did they're now capitalizing on PSN in a really good and productive manner. If
Hmm.
they could have gone about this in any way, like just making it so that way PSN actually cost everybody money, but this premium kind of edition and adding a lot of these really cool features for kind of a low price is probably the best way I could possibly imagine them going about actually capitalizing on PSN.
Hmm. Um. Yeah. Those like few things that like 5 the 5 minutes that destroyed Microsoft's reputation on Xbox One. The as I said before, the used games. You don't have to have an always online connection. You don't even have to check in every 24 hours. And you don't have to have um your PlayStation Eye connected to your PlayStation all the time, whereas um, Xbox you have to have it connected all the time, which I don't understand that. But and
Exactly.
think about
It's
think
yeah.
think about the people overseas. People overseas use Xbox a lot because Xbox seems to be, or Xbox 360 seems to be the better, a partying console. But with the Xbox One coming out, those people overseas won't be able to because they're limited on what, they can access. And internet is unfortunately one of those things that they can't access. So, what are they going to come out with, the military edition or something, where you don't have to have it and you pay, a couple $50 more just to have, something that you don't have to connect online all the time? To me, that if they do something like that, that's just kind of ridiculous.
Exactly. It seems like Microsoft's been making the push to not only make everyone pay for their extra internet connection to Xbox online, multiplayer games, but also to single player games. Now suddenly you need an internet connection to play single player games.
Single
And when the
player
internet's
games.
down, or just because you have, maybe your internet really just stinks, you live out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I live
Um
out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, yeah, but your internet's a little bit better now because
Right.
you've done so much complaining and anyway.
Well,
But
for people, because I know there's people, there's students that go to our school that don't have internet at home, and they have Xbox 360s. What's
I
his
think
name?
the X in Xbox is starting to stand for exclusive because it seems
Exclusive,
to me
yes.
that everybody who's an Xbox user fan now has to have like a certain set of characteristics to be able to be an Xbox user, like say have a good internet, have a lot of
Mhm.
money on just being able to sustain using an Xbox. It doesn't even seem like it's going to be even able to be a family console anymore.
Right.
I think the Xbox One even going up against um whatever the Wii U is gonna have in this next in Nintendo thing. I think that Nintendo's even gonna probably start beating them out in terms of
Yeah.
A, prices, B, convenience, and C, opening titles.
Mhm. Well, of course, the Wii U already beats the Xbox One, and pretty much everything. Sure that they don't have all these epic games, but it's still a console that everybody has. Like, for myself, I have all the consoles of this current generation, or at least the past generation, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Wii. Almost every single person that I know that has a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 has a Wii. And, you know, Wii U is something that's going to also be a side console for, us to play because some of us like playing, games like Pikmin 3 or, that's going to be coming out, Pikmin 3 or, Super Mario Brothers, people who lived, back in the 80s and 90s. Like I lived in Super Mario 64 and I love that game. And in fact I still play it from time to time,
Yeah, you
you know.
lived and breathed it.
I still love playing those games, even New Super Mario Brothers. I I love
Yeah,
that.
Nintendo seems like, we don't want to actually count it out here just because we're not belonging to a certain amount of fandoms, but Nintendo has a really strong marketplace. They have a really what is it? Really solidified market because it's not going to be going anywhere anytime
Mhm.
soon because they're constantly getting that next generation of kids because you're always seeing
Right.
people playing on their DS and your 3DS on the bus
Mhm.
still even to this day using Nintendo's devices and games, and whenever Nintendo comes out with a game it's always a big deal. um as opposed to now with Microsoft, it seems like even among the fans, even among the people who really, really expected something out of this, that a lot of them are going to be just completely, I don't know, turned away by their new suggestions and everything.
Mhm.
All over social media and everything, you can see evidence of this. You can see the reasons why. You can check it out for yourself. I think the moral of the story is here: don't buy something you don't want. Don't get the Xbox One.
Mhm. And one feature that when they were revealing the Xbox One, like last month or whatever, the thing that really didn't make any sense to me is why would you reveal the Xbox One with the TV service stuff? I don't I don't use Verizon. I don't live in a place where Verizon Fios exists. You know, I don't even watch satellite or any of that stuff. So that's all useless to me. I mean, sure, you have all those all those games and stuff that you can watch multiple game channels at once, but there's already satellite providers who can do that as well. So I don't see a reason why that is
Yeah, it's
necessary.
it's further inconvenience. It's further sort of alienation of their own fan base.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. Microsoft, you done goof.
Microsoft, rest in peace.
Yep.
You will be missed. Well, I guess your old consoles will be missed, not your new one. Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna miss the Xbox One.
Mhm. I mean, the Xbox 360 does have good games, and the original Xbox, I can't call it Xbox One because I used to call the original Xbox Xbox One, but I can't anymore because there's the new uh, the new Xbox One.
The new
And anyway,
generation of Xbox, yes.
yes, and there's classics in the Xbox 360, the original Xbox, and I like those games. I miss the time of those consoles, where uh you get to play a whole bunch of, awesome beat 'em up, games. Of course there are coming to
Mhm.
new games, but it's kind of like I'm gonna bring Nintendo into this because it's a great example because everybody knows, Nintendo, Mario Kart. You know, I play Super Mario Kart
Mhm.
still on the Super Nintendo, even though I own
Mhm.
Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart Double Dash, and Mario Kart 64. I even though it's out in the Wii and the 3DS and all those, but sometimes I like to pull out the old titles where it all started. And you know, even though it's gonna be missed, the Xbox is gonna be missed, and so is the PlayStation 3. But I think
It
the
is.
PlayStation,
It's very bittersweet.
but I think the PlayStation 4 is gonna bring, new, very new, uh, to the gaming, bring new things to the game market, um, the gaming market. It just makes sense to
Well,
me,
here I point to this. Point to this. Well,
Mhm.
look at how long PlayStation 3's been around.
Mhm.
PlayStation 3's been around a long time for a console, and it's had a lot of really huge revolutions in gaming just on that one console. Now
Mhm.
they've come up with this, and I've seen a lot of baseline innovations with this. Like they've actually gone in and they've changed it so that way the thing actually has capacity um for more subtle like facial movements and
Mhm.
characters and much more subtle and
Their
really
engines,
innovative um yeah engines and graphics and storytelling and
and I
all of these different things.
and I
It's
think
a
it was
really good environment.
And I think it was funny that I forget which game it was, but the bloopers, the blooper one, you know
Oh
which one
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking about. And I thought it was funny because
Dark Sorcerer.
the graphics look so real in that when they when he messed up, it looks like he was actually in real life,
In a green screen.
on a green screen
Oh.
room doing a scene for like a movie. That's really good graphics right there. Of
Yeah,
course.
there were a lot of points. I've always said that it's quality versus quantity.
Mhm.
That now like Xbox was always the quality and PlayStation 3 was always the quantity. If you wanted to play a lot of games for little to no quality, then you'd go to PlayStation. If you wanted to play a really good game for, who knows how long, then you'd go to Xbox, but you'd have to pay the price for it.
Mhm.
Now, now I think that paradigm is completely shifted. I think that Xbox has overdone it. That they are now too exclusive for me and a lot of the other people in their potential market to go to Xbox now. It's a bittersweet sort of um diversion from what we've normally from the classics. I'm gonna miss Halo 3 and I'm gonna miss all those
Mhm.
games, but my Xbox 360 isn't going anywhere. My gold
Right.
account isn't going anywhere. That's
Mhm.
going to be staying for who knows how long.
Yeah, you're gonna get a
But
PlayStation 4 eventually.
I'm not migrating. I'm not migrating back to Microsoft in
Mhm.
any foreseeable future.
And if the next generation after PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, what if Microsoft turns right around and you know with their next console after the Xbox One, if they have the money to do that, those hardcore gamers, sure, they'll go for the Xbox One because that's what they pretty much sworn their lives to.
Yeah,
Would you
you have to
switch
be
back over if if the next Xbox console, you know, were to blow your mind away over, the PlayStation 5, of course. That's
Yeah, you know what? I think that the next wave of consoles from Microsoft, not only does it have to be two steps up from Xbox One at least, but it also will have to be one step ahead of whatever PlayStation and Sony come up with next, which
mhm.
I think at this rate, with their what it looks to be um a catastrophe for the company, because first they've had kind of the failure with not only the Windows 8 but also the Windows Phone and all of these things where they've gotten some progress ahead, and I think that this is going to be another one of those stories where with Xbox One they've managed to get some progress ahead,
Mhm.
but I think that only their cult following almost is going to be staying with them for this remaining thing. I think that this next generation of kids too, they're not gonna want their parents are gonna buy them an Xbox One. I don't think
Mhm.
it's gonna happen. Xbox 360 has always been the classic to go to
Mhm.
for
Because when
that.
parents look at prices, between the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they're gonna be like, "Oh, hey, why get an Xbox One when it's $100 more, and then just go with PlayStation 4 that looks pretty much the same in graphics and does practically everything else that the Xbox One does, except minus the Kinect and the TV thing. That's it.
Yeah, how much are we really missing with the Kinect? I mean, Microsoft I think included in all of their stumbles recently. I think the Kinect is probably a really good example.
I mean, sure, controlling everything and saying, "Oh, Xbox, watch TV." Okay, well, whatever happened to just pushing a button? It's not that difficult just to move your thumb. And I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah, we've seen this before. I guess they saw what the Wii did, and they saw
Mhm.
how successful the Wii was, and they were thinking, "Oh man, we could do the exact same thing." And so they come up with this bar that you just plug into your existing Xbox, and voila, suddenly you can tell your Xbox to open the tray. Big deal. And you still have to get up.
I
Um,
mean, it's not. I mean, it's for games. For some games, I mean, it's not a bad idea, but the Kinect really kind of was buggy. To me, sometimes it was buggy.
it was primitive. I don't think that it was I it was kind of ahead of its time, really.
I think the Kinect 2, which is I believe that they're calling it, um, might have a chance, but they didn't really show any Kinect games at all.
No, they really didn't. They didn't really preview anything for the Kinect. I think uh they've already stressed everything they could with the
Mhm.
Kinect. Anyway, it's not like they would have been showing anything new, especially with someone kind of awkwardly dancing on stage to make make something happen on screen. That would be a catastrophic disaster if that one had. Oh, and also, their presentation was full of bugs.
Mhm. Well,
Their
I mean,
presentation in particular. I mean, Sony had their own bugs, granted, but just not nearly as much as Microsoft did.
mhm. They had their fair share of problems. We were excited of watching, some Battlefield 4, and
The Battlefield 4,
then
we
they
were just on the edge of our seats waiting for that one.
and then the audio wasn't on, and we were all wondering what was going on, and we were just really, really not very happy about that.
No, not very happy about that. But then they did get the audio working, and the presentation went on, and we pretty much almost forgot about that.
hmm
And
And EA,
by the end of
and one interesting thing that I saw was in EA's presentation, they really only showed PC and PlayStation 3 being played on. I mean, sure, their Xbox One was probably in there somewhere, but for Battlefield 4, I saw
oh, I
no
think it
for
was played on the new PlayStation. Was wait, no, they were playing it on PC, weren't they?
I believe they were playing it on PC, but I remember. Oh boy,
No, they were lined up in PCs,
yeah,
and a
that's
few
right.
of them
Okay,
had yeah, a few of them
they
had
were playing on PC, and
controllers.
some other games. Um, I saw they were being played on PlayStation 4. I didn't really see anything that was being played by the Xbox One. Did you notice any games that were
No,
being
no, I
played?
didn't. Not on the which is kind of interesting because the EA was in between both the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 one, and it's really interesting to me to see that EA was already biased toward PlayStation 4 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see, the past Battlefield 3, all the content was out on PlayStation 3 first, before Xbox. Kind of like what Xbox did for Call of Duty. Now, of course, being both a Call of Duty and Battlefield fan, kind of evens it out. But when it comes down to, choosing between two companies, I feel bad for Activision staying with Xbox on that, with Call of Duty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be difficult. I feel bad for anyone trying to stay with Xbox nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
That's just all around going to be a problem. Well, I think that's a good point to wrap up.
Yep. Okay.
Wouldn't you say?
All right. This is Boogeyman 101, and
And Gato 7D.
all right. We'll probably talk about Nintendo's conference tomorrow. So
These have been our thoughts,
yes,
and now they're yours.
and now they're yours. Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.